the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Hello and welcome to The Reporter, a news and current affairs program that goes beyond the headline, bringing reporters from the field to give first-hand accounts and in-depth analysis of unfolding issues, correspondent perspective, ensuring balanced, credible, and comprehensive storytelling. Welcome once again. I am Aniti Patrick. Let's start up with what's happening in the education sector, where the federal government says credible data remains critical to improving planning, budgeting, and also monitoring and learning outcomes across Nigeria's education sector. Well, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, made this known at the official launch of the Digital National Education Management Information System in Abuja. And of course, our education correspondent, Priscilla Obasi, was there for Global TV.
The meeting, presided over by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, brought together heads of education agencies, development partners, state commissioners for education, vice chancellors, and other stakeholders in the education sector. The minister said the Digital National Education Management Information System is aimed at transforming education planning through reliable real-time data, noting that the platform will improve transparency, accountability, and evidence-based decision-making process across Nigeria's education sector.
Also helping to support those data being domiciled in the country. Data sovereignty is what it's called. You have almost 15 people full-time working here in Nigeria. I know you started with HEAD, the District Health Information System and Software. Well, I'm going to tell you that your migration to education is actually one of the biggest decisions that you took that will impact many countries.
Speaking on behalf of development partners, UNICEF education specialist Saka Ibrahim reaffirmed UNICEF's commitment to supporting Nigeria's education data reforms, stressing that quality data is essential to improving learning outcomes and ensuring that no child is left behind.
One good unique thing that the Honorable Minister of Education has brought to the system is to identify the profile of every learner, their details, and they have unique identifier that can be linked to their movement. They are moving from one school to the other, or they are moving from one local government to the other, or from one state to the other. Because of that unique identifier, that child will be tracked throughout the entire basic and senior secondary education.
National Project Coordinator of Special Programs, Operations and Implementation Unit, Adebayo Onibanjo, explained that NEMIS is the flagship platform under the Nigeria Education Data Infrastructure, NEDI. According to him, the system will digitize the annual school census, harmonize education records across the country, and make credible data available for planning, policy formulation, and improved service delivery. The digital platform is designed to replace fragmented education data systems with a unified national database capable of tracking schools, learners, teachers, and education investment in real time. Priscilla Obasi, Global Television News.
Well, joining me right now in the studio is Priscilla Obasi to explain to us what this looks like in the education sector. Hello, Priscilla. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you very much.
There's a whole lot happening in the education sector. I want to ask, for many years, Nigeria's education sector has struggled with a whole lot of issues around new technologies. With unreliable statistics that we have right now and poor planning, will the new Digital National Education Management Information System finally end the era of guesswork in education sector and policy making?
Well, this is a very brilliant initiative. If you ask me, it's something that is highly commendable. I must commend the Minister of Education. He has been doing greatly well in the last years of his appointment. And This initiative, the idea is to bring our data together. Instead of having our data, fragmented in different places, across states, across regions, across local governments, they thought to put a platform together that would allow for data to be collected in one place. So this means that if you are a student, you want to go from one school to another, a school can just easily access you. Know if you are a dropout. Know if you left school for the wrong reasons. Know, do you understand? You want to gain scholarship somewhere, if there seems to be something wrong about your history, it's easy for any international body to come trace your records, to know where you are. So this is something that helps us track every learner, track every single Nigerian, be able to track dropouts, with
all the challenges
and all of those systems we've struggled with in the educational sector for years now. So it's a welcome development. I am just concerned about the implementation process. I hope this will be really, will bring about great sensitization, especially across private schools, because most times we have good policies on paper, but when it comes to implementing the gaps start to set in. But it's a brilliant one, I must say, and highly commendable.
Okay, well, I like the fact that you said it's a brilliant idea, but let's look at, will the federal government ensure that this cascades down to states, private schools, and also the education agencies, for them to fully embrace this platform? It's one thing to have a great idea, it's another thing to embrace it and get it down to the grassroots points.
Well, it's something that is very sellable if it's explained in detail. So we must start by asking the educators, I mean those even in the ministry, what do you understand by this? There needs to be good sensitization, like I said, especially with the private sectors, especially in rural communities. It's not enough doing this in FCT, with the high standard government schools we have, even if I don't know if we still have high standard government schools, but it is not enough restricting to the FCT. How do we make sure that this goes from FCT to Kaduna State, to Bauchi State, to Lagos, to Ogun, to every 36, all of the states in Nigeria? How do we ensure that we have a track or a way to monitor the progress? Because it needs to be a review, let's say a quarterly review, to see how it's done. One problem we have in Nigeria is the ability to monitor progress, the ability to make sure that policies are implemented, the ability to be able to ensure that there is a structure around how it should work, so that we get the desired results.
Amazing,
brilliant, fantastic ideas.
All right, we look forward to seeing that translates into the ideas you say. Thank you so much for your time with us. Let's quickly turn our focus and hear from Benue State, where the Benue State government has taken delivery of 116 housing units developed under the National Housing Program as part of efforts to expand affordable home ownership and improve workers' welfare in the state. The initiative by the administration of Governor Hyacinth Alia is expected to ease pressure on rental accommodation and widen access to mortgage financing for civil servants and low-income earners. Of course, our correspondent Felicity Ndere tells us more.
Access to affordable housing remains a major challenge across Nigeria, as rising construction costs and rapid urbanization continue to put decent accommodation beyond the reach of many workers. Determined to reverse the trend, the Benue State government has acquired 116 housing units built by the federal government under the National Housing Program. Receiving the estate on behalf of the state government, the Group Managing Director of Benue Investment and Property Company, Dr. Raymond Asamaka, has said the acquisition aligns with Governor Hyacinth Alia's vision of economic inclusion and improved living standards for workers.
All we want is to live in a decent home, affordable, and bridge the gap of the deficit of housing that we have ever witnessed.
The branch manager of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Yangi, highlighted the role of mortgage financing in making home ownership easier and more accessible for Nigerians.
If you are able to afford, then we will now show you the package for which we can tailor you to actually package you to benefit from the scheme.
Representing the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Quantities of the Afemi Tomitokwe said the handover demonstrates the federal government's commitment to partnering states in addressing Nigerians' housing deficits.
Demand is higher than supply. And that's why the federal government decided to go into mass housing. And that's one of the cardinal agenda of the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And he has mandated us to go all out and build houses in all the states capital.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by the acting head of civil service, Dr. Eunice Uhu, described the project as a strategic investment in human capital that will enhance workers' welfare and productivity.
The outrage of house rents in the state is becoming too much for the civil servants, and they gave a fit that they have to do something immediately to to bring down the high cost of prices of house in the town. So he did this for civil servants and as well as public servants to benefit from this.
Located along the welfare quarters Mopo Barracks Road in Makurdi, the estate consists of 1, 2 and 3 bedroom bungalows to be managed by the Benue Investment and Property Company under a flexible payment arrangement aimed at making home ownership more affordable for beneficiaries. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndare reporting for Global Television News.
Felicity, how have you been? It's good to see you.
I'm fine. Good evening. Good to be here as well.
Have you joined me on the program? Let's quickly get to this initiative by the Benue State Housing Authority housing scheme. With millions of Nigerians struggling to own homes, can the acquisition of 116 housing units by the Benue State government become a model for tackling the country's growing housing deficit, or is it only a drop in the ocean?
This is actually a good step for the Benue State government for our civil servants and low-income earners, because it's going to help them own their homes, as you rightly said. It is not just a normal phase of come up due to the increase in the price of house rents in Makurdi. And then if you look at the level of house rents and what the 116 units is going to do to the low income, and it's going to be of great help, because a normal civil servant has a wages of 70,000 naira, and good house rents in Makurdi, they range from a million plus. So this is going to be a very great help to both civil servants and low income earners. It's a welcome development in the state.
Civil servants and great income earners, like you mentioned, how can governments ensure that affordable housing schemes genuinely benefit the civil servants themselves and the low income earners, instead of ending up in the hands of political elites and spectators who want to take advantage of this?
The people that are in charge, that is, it's the BIPC, the Benue Investment and Property Company, that is in charge of this development. The federal government handed over to the GM of the company, Raymond Asmaka, and everything is going straight to the government. It's not through any political party. It is not by no political means. You come, and once from the BIPC management to the mortgage bank, if you are the mortgage bank, everything is settled. You just start your processing. Though as of this level, the monies that have not been mentioned on how they are going to go about it, but the people that are in charge of the program is the BIPC. It is managed by the Benue State government, not through any political party or any political elite at all. It is by the Benue State government for the Benue State civil servants and low-income earners.
Understand it better, and we look forward to seeing how this pans out, and we'll see civil servants have homes to themselves from this initiative. Thank you so much, Felicity, for your time with us on The Reporter. We'll keep track with you and see how this pans out. Thank you for your time. Well, let's turn our focus to what's happening around infrastructure, where President Bola Tinubu has flagged off the construction of the 125-kilometer Akwanga-Jos superhighway, approving the immediate release of 111 billion naira to commence the project. The road is expected to improve connectivity, enhance road safety, and boost economic activities across the north, central, and northeast. Our correspondent tells us more.
President Bola Tinubu, represented by National Chairman of All Progressive Congress, Professor Natawe Yelwada, described the project as a major legacy initiative under the Renewed Hope agenda. He says The superhighway forms part of 700 kilometers Akwanga-Maiduguri corridor designed to strengthen regional integration and accelerate economic development.
It is a critical component of the federal government's road infrastructure development program, aimed at enhancing connectivity, improving road safety, and stimulating socio-economic activities along the corridor. Let me assure you that with God on our side, we shall complete this project and deploy them for the benefit of economic revolution of our country. These roads shall be done and will be successful.
The president says the project demonstrates the administration's commitment to delivering modern infrastructure capable of transforming lives and supporting national development. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, says the federal government has released 111 billion naira for the project's kickoff, expressing confidence that the superhighway will improve regional connectivity, create jobs, and drive economic growth across the North Central and Northeast zones.
On behalf of Minister of Works, to hand over the site to the contractor, the President has approved the immediate release of 111 billion to this contractor for a takeoff. And while I was here, the Minister of Finance sent me a letter and said, please give us the original documents of President approval so that we can pay. So hold him responsible because he's going to be paid this week.
The federal government says the Akwanga-Jos Superhighway is one of the several strategic infrastructure projects aimed at improving connectivity, promoting economic growth, and accelerating national development under the Renewed Hope agenda.
Me live in the studio is our correspondent who understands what it is with infrastructure, and of course with 111 billion naira putting into this road project, it shows that the federal government is not resting on its own. And of course I have Samuel Odi with me in the studio. Hello Samuel.
Hi Anita, it's always good to give more depth to the story.
Yes, let's talk about infrastructure, because it's one thing where the people want access to road, you know every of these things, and the rural areas. With this coming in by the president, how do you see the people enjoying this particular infrastructure, and then accountability, of course?
Well, so far it shows that the president is very particular about infrastructure development, and at least for the loans that is being borrowed, which he has always emphasized on the fact that it will go into infrastructure development. Now it shows that accountability and transparency is coming into play with superhighway road construction that is going to start shortly. So with the recent development, it has shown that the people of those corridor, Akwanga and Jos corridor, which will also lead down to Maiduguri, they have suffered about road congestion for over a reasonable amount of time now. So the initiative of Mr. President is to create access road for those communities, for the ease of doing business, and also for people who commute through that environment, so as Nigerian roads will be motorable for goods to be able to travel. So
let's talk about the fact that accessibility to city centers or superhighways is one concern we've always had over time, following the insecurity we have in the country.
Yes.
With this road and giving out and to this contractor, which we've seen where the Minister of Works is saying hold him accountable because the release of funds. How is this going to give peace of mind for the Akwanga-Jos? Because I've been through that road and I know what it is like with the tensions we've seen over the years with insecurity in these areas.
Well, based on that, I think with this contract coming to the light around this environment now, and most of the times what leads to insecurity is actually people being idle. So I think it's going to create job opportunities for people living within those vicinities, and the greater good is that it's going to create more access and then improve infrastructural development and also create pathways for goods and services. So in the angle of insecurity, I think this is also going to hopefully help curb that, because a lot of security personnel obviously are supposed to be expected to
on
be
the highways
on the highways as well, based on the fact that we've seen that most of these elements get to travel by road. So we're hoping to see that this is going to help curb those aspects of insecurity, and the most important one now is to boost economic growth and development within the region, and which will trickle down to Nigeria at large.
Well, I like the fact that you're thinking like I'm also thinking and hoping that the states, the committee, everyone gets the best of getting a highway, super highway. The super highway setup, of course, travels becomes
700
easy.
kilometers all the way to Maiduguri.
All the way. So that's a smooth ride.
That's a smooth ride. So it's going to cut across Apanga, Jos, Bauchi, and then Biu, Gombe. All of those houses, those corridors would be covered generally. So with all of this,
that's like the break of dawn for this corridors.
Technically, and it's that super highway. So obviously, we're blessed. Those regions are blessed with lots of land, and then obviously the roads will
farmers can also access the road and
market, and then the lanes also from the blueprints that we are hoping to see when it's going to be released and when the construction is going to be done with, because funds have been released. So we are expecting to see an excellent work. And then again, CGC are those that are in line in charge of this contract, and then, like the minister says, hold them accountable.
Amazing. With that, we'll see accountability playing out. Well, relaxed, Addison. Thank you so much, Samuel Odi, for your time with us. And of course, like we always talk about, it's amazing where we give in-depth analysis, we break it down for you to understand. And of course, with this super highway, we know that there's a whole lot to come for this corridors where this road construction is put out for there. Well, this brings us to the size of the program. The reporter, thank you so much for being a part of the program. Like we always bring you in-depth analysis, unfolding of issues. Well, we say thank you for being a part of the program. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and on Free TV. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. I am Anieti Patrick. Thank you for watching.
Social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.